and then write down Executive Order 14067. Executive Order 14067. And my question that I have for everybody listening is December 13th, 2022, the day that freedom dies? Again, I repeat, is December 13th, 2022, the day that freedom dies? And so
there's the video. There's him speaking about it.
The G7 is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote that could be used alongside physical notes and coins. Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK.
Right, so that's the guy who runs our economy in the UK. His name's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. And here is the article. Bank of England tells ministers to intervene on digital currency programming. Yeah. And here's a quote from the article. This is in the Telegraph, the one he pulled up, but it was behind a paywall. So I'll just read the quote. Digital cash could be programmed to ensure it is only spent on essentials or goods which an employer or government deems to be sensible.
Oh.
I'm going to take it one step further for you, Joe, right? Okay. So they bring in digital banking, central banking, digital currencies. You've got a scenario now that you're checking in and out everywhere you go using vouchers that are programmed, and you can only spend where you're told you can spend them. There's another word for that, man. That's called the Chinese social credit system. That's what it's called. And anyone who watches Black Mirror will know what I'm talking about. That's that TV show,
Flynn,
right?
Yeah. You've read this document thoroughly. So have I. What do you feel like the listeners need to know about Executive Order 14067? And I'll put a link to it on today's show notes.
Well, number one, we need to continue to keep talking about this particular executive order as we've discussed other aspects of the executive orders that have come out of this White House. The second thing is that the implementation of this has already begun, and it will actually really kick into high gear approximately December timeframe. I think there's actually some dates in the order itself that are addressed. I think it's the December timeframe. What it does, what people need to know is it directs the United States Treasury, okay, the U.S. Treasury, and in coordination with the Department of Labor, the Secretary of Labor. So this is really an impactful two organizations, Treasury and Labor, right? I mean, our entire sort of our monetary shift and our employee base in this country. And then what they call other relevant agencies, right? Other relevant agencies, which means every single agency, activity, and department in the United States government. They are going to report to the president in terms of the implementation of this, the implications. So I'm gonna read this specifically. The implications of development and adoption of digital assets and changes in the financial market and payment system. I mean, this is a very, very, probably one of the most significant changes in U.S. monetary policy since 1971. Yep. And the difficulty is, Clay, and I think for people to understand is, it doesn't really address in there the grandfathering of other financial assets, right? Money primarily. It doesn't talk about that. So if you have $1 million in the bank, invested in the bank somewhere or in some investment, and they change to this digital currency, this what they call this central bank digital currency, which the Federal Reserve will actually create, it doesn't really address what will happen to that. Does that mean that there's going to be a percentage loss? Is everybody going to have 6 months to change to a digital currency? It doesn't really talk about that. It just directs that the government begin implementation of this. So it's very, very interesting. And I think that what we need to do is we really do need to start talking about this and start breaking down. And I'm doing this in my own way through some financial experts that I do know to get smarter on it. Because when I saw not only that clip on Joe Rogan, but also I watch all the executive orders coming out of the government, this particular one, of all the executive orders that have been forced down the American people's throats, this particular one is the one that caught my attention the most, because it has the potential effect of changing our financial system in the United States of America for the first time in, I don't know, 40, 50 years.